What happens after a DUI arrest in Florida? Hi, I'm Dave Magilligan with Magilligan Law here in Hollywood, Florida. And today we're going to talk about a question I get all the time. What happens after your DUI arrest in Florida? If you or someone you love has just been arrested, this video is going to walk you through the process, let you understand what can happen to you, the consequences of what's going to happen in court, and let's just get started with how it begins. Somebody gets arrested. A DUI usually starts with a traffic stop. Maybe it was speeding, maybe it was swerving. Sometimes there's an accident, or maybe it's a checkpoint on a holiday weekend. The officer is looking for signs of impairment. They're typically smell of alcohol, bloodshot eyes, slurred speech. From there, they're going to ask you to get out of the car and do some field sobriety exercises. These are things like walking a line, balancing on one leg, following a pen with your eyes. Now, these exercises are designed for you to fail. And you know what? Most people do. If the officer at this point thinks you're impaired, you'll be arrested and taken to the station for a breath test. Now, in Florida, the legal limit is 0.08. Refusing the breath test can trigger an automatic license suspension, but blowing over the limit can create its own problems. Now, the next thing that's going to happen is, booking and release. Once you're arrested, you're going to be booked into the jail. In most counties, you'll see a judge within 24 hours if you haven't bonded out first. The judge will set a bond. If you go to first appearance, the judge will set a bond with conditions. Most of the time, it's going to include no alcohol. It could include random testing, and sometimes it might even include an ignition interlock on the device. Now, family members are usually scrambling at this point, trying to figure out how to post a bond, how to get you out, and what comes next. Now, the big thing a lot of people are concerned about is their driver's license. And a lot of people don't realize is your driver's license is on the line the minute you get arrested for a DUI. If you blow over 0.08, your license is suspended for 6 months. However, if you refuse the suspension, your license is now suspended for a year. But at this point, and it's very important, it's key, you only have 10 days from the date of the arrest to request either a DMV hearing or apply for a hardship license. And if you miss that 10-day window, you can be stuck. That's why it's critical you talk to a lawyer right away to discuss your options, how you can fight the suspension or help you get a hardship, restricted license so you can go to work or school, the doctor. Make sure you can do those important things that might be able to help you take care of your family and important obligations like that. Now let's talk about the court process. That's something that's obviously going to come up. It's very important to everybody in the whole thing. After the arrest, the first court date is going to be called the arraignment. This is the court date where you're going to enter a plea of not guilty, you're going to demand discovery, you're going to arrest a jury trial. Those are the three things that you do at first. Now, along the way, there's going to be pre-trial conferences. These are going to be opportunities to negotiate with the prosecutor, file motions, potentially challenge evidence. Then ultimately, if your case can't be resolved, you're going to have a jury trial. Possible defenses include, was the traffic stop legal? How were the sobriety tests conducted? Was the breathalyzer calibrated and accurate? A DUI case isn't always open and shut, and there can be many ways to fight it. Now, if you go to trial and you lose, there are potential penalties. If someone is convicted of a DUI in Florida, the penalties are serious, even for a first offense. Okay, so up to 6 months in jail, fines starting at $500 to $1,000, potentially up to 12 months of probation, mandatory DUI school, potentially substance abuse evaluation and treatment if necessary, 50 hours of community service, vehicle impoundment. Going down here in South Florida, you have to go to a victim impact panel. Your driver's license is going to be suspended again. Now, for repeat offenders, penalties only get harsher. They include longer suspensions, higher fines, and potential jail time. Now, for non-U.S. citizens, DUI can create extra problems. Immigration authorities look at criminal arrests very closely. If you're not a U.S. citizen, a DUI arrest can trigger ICE involvement or make certain immigration benefits harder to get. So if you get arrested, ICE might pick you up when you try to bond out. So that's something in South Florida with so many immigrants in our community you need to be aware of. That's why it's important to have a lawyer who understands both criminal defense and immigration law. Now, so what happens after the DUI arrest in Florida? You're booked and you see a judge within 24 hours, or you've already bonded out. Your license, you have 10 days to work on your license. It's immediately at risk. You're going to have some court hearings, depending if you go to trial, which resolve, there can be very serious penalties. So here's the good news. You don't have to go through this alone, and you do have options. At Magilligan Law, we handle countless DUI cases. We fight to protect your license, your record, and your future. If your loved one has been arrested for DUI, call us today, for a consultation. The sooner we get started in your case, the more we can help you, and the better we can do. Now, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this video, we have other videos on our channel. Please subscribe, and we look forward to hearing. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you.